All right, here's the next meeting of the investment club. Okay, so first of all, I want to be a little honest with you guys. I actually kind of had a blind spot. Mortgages are amortized. I came across this before, but for some reason it just skipped my mind. What that basically means though is that you're going to be paying the same every single month. Your mortgage is going to stay the same effectively until negligible. Anyways, but it means something. It's actually kind of good if you think about it, because what eventually happens is that, and very soon, is that your HELOCs are able to pull on the equity of your home faster, because what's happening is basically this. So there was better shot to your home. It's like, awesome. Someone took it all. No, those bastards. Okay. So what happens in like the first place? Just to like pretend. Okay. So this is like the year. This is like year one or some shit like that. You know, year one, right? And most of it is going to be paid off with interest, and then only a little bit is going to be paid off for the principal, right? What happens though by year like 15 or some shit is it's completely flipped. Like most of it is actually paying off your principal and only a little bit off your interest, because what's happening is you keep paying off the principal each and every single time, and so the interest, the dollar amount for your interest that's paid, gets lower and lower, because your debt amount gets lower and lower, and so it's flipped, but it's amortized. So you stay the same, pays off more, but this means that you have more equity available for your home through a HELOC. Oh, nice. There's this one right there. Okay. So there's that part that I just wanted to say. Also, fun fact, I had a fun conversation with my mom. Turns out that there was like miscommunication. So property management,
Sorry, those boots are awesome.
Oh, dude.
Oh yeah, no, thank you. Yeah. I got. Hold on a second.
Yeah, where did they come from?
Huh?
You have online? Where they come from?
Radshoes.com, but like rad spelled with 2 A's.
Alright.
Yeah. Check them out. They got some good shoes. Okay, the other thing about this is that my mom told me that, like to get like one tenant in, it'll cost you like a flat fee of like $250. Like, okay, cool. So you have like a 1-year rental agreement. It would cost you only, it's actually per month. So,
okay.
miscommunication on
What
that
do you
part.
mean?
However,
So you have to pay like
a property rental management group. Yeah.
to a property if you're gonna pay someone to manage it.
Yeah, if you were going to, and we're going to exactly talk about how you can avoid that, because it can actually add up a little bit. But first, before we get into that, I wanted to show you guys just a little bit more of the math here of what you can kind of expect thereabouts. Okay, so we talked about why you would have $29,000 in rent, right? Rent money from these two properties. Okay, we're talking about two quads here. All right, that's what you're getting. That's what you're getting in 1 year. The other thing, we're going to be talking about the HELOC. So mathematically, as it works out, you're not going to get anything for the first 4 years. Okay, this is again with like the FHA loans and all that jazz. You're not going to get anything for the first 4 years, because what happens is with the HELOCs, okay, is that they have to have 80% loan to value ratio. Okay, that's what that is. Now, what this means is, in effect, is that your house, you have to, and top of that, by the way, mind you, something significant about this level 2 is that once you have, like, here's like the property value, and mind you, okay, that your property is accruing value over time, right? So this happens with like the 4 years and stuff like that. Again, I wanted to I clarified this. It was on the video, but let me clarify this again, because I realized, like, looking back on it, I was like, okay, that wasn't the most clear. 3.5 to 3.8%. Okay, this is the average across the nation. This sort of range, that's what you can like expect in your property accruing value year over year, being compounded like that. Not 3.5 to 8%. So I realized it looked like that later on. Anyway, so at 80%, so you're looking at like what is the principal amount, okay, that you owe on that loan, right? And versus the property value, right? That's the V part there. So again, you can calculate that, like, well, how many years has it been? It's like, well, let me just like do this, right? So what it would look like is if you were to say,
so you need 80% equity is what you're saying though, right?
Effectively, yes. But let me draw really quickly. So let's say you have $100,000 of a property, value, and this is just like what the house was on the market for, right? And it's been like normal market, nothing like crazy or anything like that. And it's been like 5 years later. Okay, what that's going to look like is 100,000. Okay, right, times, you could put parentheses around here, 1.035, this is being conservative because again it can be 3.8, to the power of 5, and that sort of thing, okay? that's what that would look like. You don't even really need that because, you know, PEMDAS and stuff like that. Anyways, but yeah, so that's what that would look like. And mind you, that's how you would calculate that. In any case, though, yeah. So, important point I was trying to say this about this level is that once you have 80% of like your property's value, again, you can calculate this for yourself using this sort of like formula, real simple stuff. And you see like, okay, well, here's what the property like would be valued at, and then I look at like the amount that like I have in terms of like the loan right now, and all you have to do is, oh gosh, anyways, so you take the P, principal loan amount, and then you divide that by the value, okay? And that should, if it's lower than like, you know, 0.8, if that's like the answer you get, if it's like 0.8 or lower, you know, that sort of thing, then you've reached this amount. That is how that works. And yeah, okay, so the important point about this is that not only can you anyways, once you reach that level, you cancel, and this is the FHA loan stuff, and we'll get into the DSCR loans. They actually don't have this, which is really cool, but anyways, so for your FHA loans, they have something called, they have their own version of this, but it's effectively the same thing. Private mortgage insurance, we kind of talked about this before last time. Remember, once you hit that, you need to cancel this. Call up your loan officer and say, you know, hey, I want to cancel my private mortgage insurance. You need to do this, keep track of this shit, because it can cost a lot of money over time. Cancel it, and then make sure that the cost to cancel, because they have to do a, oh my gosh, refinance, anyways, of those sorts, of that sort of thing. Anyways, canceling it, rolling it into monthly payments. Make sure you do that, because if you pay it up front, guess what that means? What does it mean? Anyone? Hand raise? Anyone with an idea of what it would mean?
Time value of money you're wasting time on that you could have been investing that money on.
Ding dong, exactly right. You get brownie points. Anyways, so there it is. Anyways, so that's that part. Just remembering that. HELOCs though, okay? You have to have that in order to have access to the HELOC. Now, of course, what this means is what I'm trying to say it means is that you have this. Okay, cool. Now that the money that the property is accruing value, like from here on, now it's starting to be calculated into the HELOC. What this means is that, okay, cool, you've reached that point. Now let's look at the money that is, you know, like a couple of years later or something like that. This is sort of the point, is that the first 4 years, okay, I'll just go back to this. So for 185K house, Jesus Christ, $185,000 using the, talk about the FHA, all that jazz, and of course the Chinook Fund and the community seconds, not forgetting those things. Anyway, so 185, what this would work out to is after 4 years, then you start having your money that's like accruing in value, then available for the HELOC. What this means is that you make nothing for the first, you have no access to a HELOC or anything like that for the first 4 years, and then 3 years later, then you now get a HELOC. It takes 3 years in order to get access to HELOC. This is based off of a loan requirement of 25 grand. This is what Chase was doing. So you might be able to find better, but sort of have that as like just a reference point, a bedrock of sorts. So it takes, you know, $25,000 HELOC. That's what you need for that. Anyways, so let's talk a little bit about the math, what it sort of looks like. And that was what I was trying to get into. So yeah, let me go. You guys got what you wanted here? Just go ahead and slowly erase. So what we're looking at next is the math, just pure and simply, of what you'll be expecting, thereabouts, for the first 4 years, and then consistently thereafter. Because again, for the first 4 years, you'll never have access to that HELOC. That's to accrue value enough to get beyond that point, but thereafter, you can consistently expect it. So here's what this looks like. So again, you have $29K in rent. You have nothing for the first 4 years. Okay, and then every 3 years after that, between both properties, mind you, not just one. Oh, why did I say that? Oh, that's exactly why. Anyways, it's not like, it's just like how it worked out. It's just like, it's not exactly 25K. It's actually like a little over, like 27 basically. Anyways, but you can expect $54,000 every 3 years. So this would work out to about $18,000, about 54, about 18. And on top of that, remember, $700 rent, okay? You're not paying this anymore. What this equals is $8,400 every single year that you are saving. A penny saved is a penny earned sort of thing, same principle. So for the first 4 years, you're expecting $37,400, okay? Immediately in the first 4 years, if you get these properties, you'll be effectively making this much money. After that, however, $55,400, and again, it's not exactly like this because it's like you had to wait 3 years and I get the 54, but you sort of like, just gonna like, put that over like last 3 years, that sort of thing, like how it works. Anyway, you'd be expecting after that point, after the 4 years, every single year you'll be effectively, because you're not renting all this sort of jazz involved, you'll be making $55,000 effectively. Now, there's something to say about this though. This $54,000, 37, blah, blah, blah. This doesn't include a couple of things. However, there's ways that we can get around this. It'll make sense in a second. So, what this excludes is repair costs, maintenance costs, renovation costs, income taxes. Income taxes, also the property management group, okay? So here's like a flurry of things that are involved in this sort of situation. First of all, it would come out to about a little less, and from what I was seeing, about $6,000 for the 2 properties every single year in order to have the property management group, okay? It's a bit of money though, so if we can avoid that, then fantastic. So we'll be talking about I'll keep these things. The income tax, I mean you can have there's like a whole section where there's, fun fact, there is over 70,000 pages in tax code, 70,000.
Only 3 tell you what you have to pay.
Yeah, exactly, some shit it's like in a very short amount in the very beginning. I don't know, I looked into that too, I heard that too. But I'm pretty sure though, it's like a small amount in the first part of it that it's like,
it's like 3 to 5 pages of here's what you have to recognize in terms of your income, and then all the rest of it's just
how to get out of it.
All of the ways to get out, all the ways to take write-offs and loopholes and all that. Someone was telling me that basically real estate is the most deductible industry that you can go into. Essentially, that there's no other industry that allows you, or business that you can go into that allows you to deduct as much and save on taxes.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, and we'll be going into
particularly
that
like rental real estate too. I think they were even saying.
Once you pay off your mortgage, does it become capital gains tax?
No, that would be only if you were to sell your property. And on top of that, it would be long-term capital gains tax. The short-term capital gains tax is everything up until a year, so a year before. That was just like, oh well, here's your normal bracket and that sort of thing, the bracketing system for our taxes as it is normally. And then thereafter, it is 0% up to 40,000. From 40,000 to $400,000 is 15, and thereafter from 400 it's 20. That's how that works after a year. Anyways, so let's go ahead. Let's see if we can handle the property management group first. Again, we'll be going over income tax at some point later, so that's like a whole thing involved against 70,000 pages. So we'll see what we can find in that one. Okay. So I originally said just set yourself up for 1 year rental agreement, stuff like that. It's not necessarily like this. You don't have to do this. Again, we're looking at college towns, so these people are here for multiple years usually. So you could do 1, 2, 3, 4, Jesus, 5. I don't even know what that one is. That's fine. Anyways, 5-year rental agreements. You can do that just so that you can worry less on the lease renewal and that sort of process and involved in you turning over I gotta find a new person now, that sort of thing. If it happens to be like that, or even just hey, I want you to set up for a few years here, you can't. You can give the options, you know what I mean? So if it's what would the person prefer, just so that you can be all the more available for their wants and that sort of thing. They'd be oh, I just want to do 1 year, and the next year is I want to do 2. Let's bump it up a little bit. options, point is, focus of mind. Okay, so involved in this is something to note about. Property management groups, they would seemingly be involved in these sorts of, it's like they cover like light repairs, other than like, oh, if it's like heavy duty and shit like that, then like they would charge you. But if it's like light repairs and that sort of thing, they seem to be able to take care of that, which is cool. So that's something to note about them. However, they're like kind of expensive though, and they make like regular check-ins, that sort of thing. You're just like one person sort of thing. So what would you be more interested in? Getting cameras for the, just like big old C for camera, in the common areas. So like the living room and jazz like that. The thing is though, the bathroom, it's the one exception to that. I'm talking about like the rooms and stuff like that, taking pictures beforehand. You can do the same thing for the bathroom if you wanted to, but it wouldn't make as much sense because you'd want to say like, oh, something like happened to like your room, I took pictures and before and after, it's like you're in the rental agreement, like you're responsible for those sorts of charges, stuff like that. For the bathroom though, unfortunately it seemed like, unless let me know if you guys have a better idea, but effectively if something happens in the bathroom, some damages, the people who are there, the renters, the tenants rather, they just have to split evenly the costs basically of whatever happens. But that's kind of
Just
what it
think
comes
there
down
are
to.
ways to avoid having to pay a property management company if you want to do the management yourself.
Yeah. It's I was looking at it, it's a lot simpler than what you would like expect. I mean, like, again, they're like much more hands-on, but it's just sort of like they're kind of doing that though, so they can get more money from you, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it's not that hard though. I mean, with some light oversight on your part, keeping track of things, have like a spreadsheet or some shit. I mean, you can do like whatever you want to keep track of these sorts of things. But the sort of point about it though is that with like a maintenance part of like what they do, the checking in on, again, you have cameras for that, so you can have the oversight. Again, in the rental agreement, you make sure that like you can go in yourself, take pictures, or you can hire a photographer, making sure that the tenant is paying for that. And they go into like the rooms and stuff like that. They take professional pictures, so there's options on that sort of front. Again, what the the property management group really does is that they do a bunch of stuff that like you could do easily yourself. Like, again, like the sorting and organizing of like,
how passive do you want it to be, basically? Do you want it to be completely passive, or do you want to do some of the work?
Like a little bit, and it's not even like a lot. Again, like it's $6,000 every single year. Like that can add up to a lot over time. Particularly because it's like, well, what could I have done with that money? It's like, that was a lot more, So the point is though, is that you can put in certain things. Again, it's like you just keep track of stuff. Like, here's this lease agreement with this person here. Here's like the dates for it. Here's like the rent amount that's like owed and stuff like that for this. Again, like you're looking at 2 properties mainly, at least. If you go beyond that, if you're looking at like several properties, okay, probably would one property management group, that sort of thing. But even then, you'd only do like here's just like 5 of them. I'm gonna still manage 2 myself, and like that manageable sort of thing.
Yeah.
And this also sort of presumes that, and we'll get into a little bit of this, but it's not too complex because you have to like work. It kind of depends, but we'll get into a discussion about that. But effectively, like this, again, like after the first 4 years, first 4 years making like 37 grand, thereafter 55 for yourself. So the other part about this that I wanted to say, let's see here. Yeah, cameras for that. If no one, or this is like part of like what you'd be putting into like the rental agreement sort of thing. If no one or the time is identified for the damages that occur, then everyone has to equally share the cost for damage repair. Like something happens, like they're kind of like incentivized reporters. That's basically what you would say. Because if someone sees and it's like, nah, not my problem, it's like, oh shit, you got charged for that now, right? You have to actually say like, oh no, hey, this is like happened this day, keep in contact, that sort of thing. Charging a $10, $15, something like that, monthly maintenance rent repair fee for the tenant, stuff like that. That's also an option, again, just so that you can have like that front part covered for yourself. Again, like taking out like the middleman of the property management group, you do it yourself, save money, all that sort of jazz. Make sure that they agree to pay for the damages they cause in their rental agreement, just like pretty simply. Again, you can work with like, about like who you'd want to like work with. You might be able to go into your bank and try to get like a resource that like someone can help you with on that front. That is a possibility to pursue. Worst case scenario, you just like hook up with a lawyer and sort out like a rental agreement, that sort of thing. But at least it's a one-time cost sort of thing, instead of like just $6,000 every single year, right? A lawyer's gonna be a lot less than that, and it's one-time sort of thing. Let's see here. Also another option, I'm pursuing this myself. I'm gonna see the viability of this, but this is just sort of like just throwing this out there. Liability for damages via contract set up with the bank. In other words, what happens is that like the bank will front you the money, and then now the tenant owes the money to the bank plus interest, so the bank is incentivized themselves. Something to see about the possibility of that one. I have to do more research. I'll let you guys know about that as that develops. Have them pay for a photographer, taking pictures of everything when they move in and when they move out if you want to, or you can go in yourself and take pictures for yourself, all this sort of stuff. Rent insurance, by the way, it's actually pretty pretty inexpensive, thankfully. It's like average cost is like $15 a month. And on top of that, you can just like have the tenants pay for that too. You can also have that part of the rental agreement and that sort of thing. If you can and want. Deposits. Just saying to like no deposits to avoid missed rent, because it's one thing of like, oh, they missed a month, like now there's like multiple months, and that's like where the rent insurance really like kicks in to save your ass.
So you're saying that rent insurance is to make sure you can pay your mortgage, basically?
I mean, like, yeah, it certainly has its part in that, but also just to make sure that you get your money. You know what I mean?
So you don't have to pay back that rental insurance, so it's actually like they'll just give you the cash for whenever your renter doesn't pay you, basically.
It's like put it like this, like health insurance, right? It's like, you might have, I mean, they don't have like a principal amount or anything, or a oh my gosh, a co-payment. They don't have like a co-pay or anything like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's effectively the same thing. It's like, hey, you connect with them, say, hey, there's been like missed rent here, and they sort it out with you, and you would presume, and then if they front you the money, and it's just like, there's my insurance now, and you're paying like $15 dollars every single month, that sort of thing, in order to have that safety net, so to speak. Again, like health insurance. Having part of the rental agreement covering costs for a lawsuit if needed. If a lawsuit has to happen, that sort of thing, you make sure that you put that in there to the rental agreement. Background checks, credit checks, make sure you do that as well. That sort of thing is just important to know. Like if you just like looking at like everything of like in your past, you can look through like Craigslist and be like, here, what are people like demanding that like for me. Are they saying like, hey, you need to have a credit check? Oh, this one over here says that I have to like pay for the credit check. It's like $10. Like, hey, pick up the notes, right? Be like, oh, I'll do that too. That's good. Save me money. And for sake of safety, like what are other people doing? Okay, let's go into DSCR loans now. All right, so that takes care of the property management group. Effectively, again, it's like they're actually like really simple. They make it seem like they do a lot so that they can like charge you more. Effectively, that's really what they're about. DSCR loans. Now you need $100,000 minimum. If this is something that you want to do, we can get into conversations about this, but it's something that we can talk about anyways. So for DSCR loans, you need at least $100,000 in the loan. The loan needs to be at least for that. So what that comes out to is $120,000 if you wanted to put down the 15%, which is the lowest amount that they would take as part of the down payment. So you need the property basically for $120,000 if you want to go this route. Now this is also per Trust Financial, which is one of the groups that I got in contact with. Could be better, you find something else. Also, something to note about this, which is really cool, DSCR loans, at least from Trust as well, they do not charge anything of a, again, private mortgage insurance, right? They don't have this. There's nothing like that, which is really cool. That's a cool thing.
That's what Trust Financial is one of the lenders that you specifically.
Yeah.
That was something I'd asked you last time, if you could come with a list of your resource that you had gone to.
Yeah, they would be an example, financial, But yeah, Trust Financial, that's 2 S's. Again, it's just an example. So if you find someone else that does something better for you, then hey, all the better. But it's sort of again a bedrock.
Any other names off the top of your head you can think of?
Any other names for like what?
Like for who should if I wanted to go see what sort of mortgage I could even start, who do you go to start the process even
The internet, man, it's a great resource for a number of reasons.
But so you should go to should you go to a realtor first or like an MLO if you're trying to figure out
anything to do with loans? Always go to that MLO, loan officer, that sort of thing, loan servicer, all this same jazz. And again, you can just go to your local bank or something like that and be like, I'm looking to get a mortgage, something like that. By the way, do not ever, no to conventional loans. Don't ever do this. It is a lie. It's a way to cheat people with a bunch of fuck up jazz. So what you're looking for is the 2 FHA loans. Again, 2 FHA loans. And then from there, you're gonna go to the DSCR. That's it. That's how that one works. So the bank is gonna help you with the FHA loans, and then just looking online for the different, groups and stuff like that that are out there. The internet. That's for the DSCR loans. That's how that one works. Yeah, the conventional loans, what happens is they want you to put down 20%. All of a sudden, it's like that's not good.
So you're basically saying just walk into any bank or
yeah, your personal bank. Probably you'd want that. Just because
Bank of America's not here or online ones, but
yeah.
So then would they? Sorry, really quick. Would they help you with like the Oh, you know what? Never mind. Sorry, the DSCR is the debt servicing loan.
Yep. Debt service coverage ratio.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Yep.
That answers my question. Thanks.
Yeah.
Credit unions are the same as banks in this
What?
regard? Are credit unions any different than banks in this?
I haven't worked with a credit union, but I would presume that it's the point about them is that it's we're owned by the people. Like we're a little dash of communism over there, right? So yeah, I mean I would presume that they would absolutely help you with home loans and stuff like that. So yeah, no, I would put that. All right, let's see here. What's the other part about this? Oh no, okay. Let me go over that. Really quickly, I want to go back over something with HELOCs. Okay, yeah. So you guys know about the 25 grand minimum for the loan amount. This is, okay, the other part about this is funny, it's a recurring thing. So not only the 80% thing, right? Not only is it for like the line of like the loan to value ratio of like your properties, like okay, now you have access to the HELOC, right? Also PMI now can be canceled. The other thing about it is that the amount of like that's, okay, so I have, for example, $100,000 and this is just like the loan amount. This is like the current amount of my loan, right? This is the principal amount. My property is actually valued at the home price, the market price at like 100 and, I think it was 132. It's $132,000. Yeah, I'm right about that. Anyways, it's $132,000 that would, how it like worked out. Anyways, as for the years as they go on, so $132,000, I think about like 108, it doesn't matter. So there's 132, so you take like, okay, so cool, like $32,000, like here, what's 80% of that, right? Just that times 0.8, and then you get blah, 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 and it's gonna be over 25K, and that's what's, if that's the amount, it's greater than 25K, so, whatever that number is, that's gonna be like the HELOC that you can pull out. There's like the available equity times 0.8, that's what they'll do. Also credit score, 680. You need a 680 for HELOC. At least when that's from Chase. But again, you could find something better. So, again, explore with all of this sort of stuff. You want to just do a bunch of research before you really like go down on anything. Make sure you know what you're doing. All right. Yeah, and let's see here. Yeah. We'll just sort of like a throw up to like a future part about this. We'll be looking at like personal loans and hard money loans and how they may function in order to help you get like more property, stuff like that. Something to keep in mind. We'll be looking at exactly how that might look. Let's see here. Okay, so there's something called, really quickly, I think this might be where we have to cut it off, but yeah, no, this is fine. Okay, all right, cool. All right. So a really important point last year. HELOCs, also the FHA loans. Okay, these two look at something called a debt to income ratio. Okay, what this means is looking at like, for example, your mortgage or your rent, that would be as well included in that. Like what sort of payments, your car payments, as they are scheduled, not like random, like, oh my gosh, my car broke down. Oh, we're gonna check that one. And it's like something of a regularity. Your interest payments on your credit cards, all that sort of stuff. Your student loan payments that you have, all that sort of jazz. That would be a part of the debt part of that. And of course, then there's your income. Like, well, how much do you actually make per year? You know, pre-tax, all that sort of jazz. Actually, it might be post-tax. You guys should know about that one. I'll have to look into that one. Here.
I want to say it's pre-tax.
I want to say that too.
I looked into it before, and I'm pretty certain it's pre-tax, but
yeah,
I wouldn't bet on it.
Yeah, I think it's too. I haven't seen it's pre-tax, but we'll see about that. I'll investigate and let you guys know later in the group chat. Anyways, for HELOCs, generally it's sort of like I've seen this like a lot of different places, but for the HELOCs and FHA loans, you might be able to, again, like you can sort of like fudge things around when you're like talking to the persons in particular, but in general cases, it's gonna be 40%, okay? So for example, 50% would mean that if I'm making, you know, 30K a year, my debt payments can only be 15K, right? That would be the cutoff, right? Now it's 40%, you know, a little less. That sort of thing. And of course it's up to that point, so I don't know, you know, it's like 12 or some jazz, I have no idea.
It is before taxes too, I just looked it up.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely is.
I think it actually is 12, because it's, anyways. Yeah, I think it actually might be 12. Anyways, it doesn't matter. You said it was pre, right?
It's definitely pre.
Yeah, alright, well, cool stuff. That's nice. Because what that means is that you have all the more money available for you to, you know, function like that. Anyways, so if you're making 30K, then it goes up to $12,000 in payments. If you go over $12,000 in payments, you will not be able to have access to these things. So you have to make sure that your payments are lower than, you know, 40%. That's kind of
the standards.
Yeah, basically. Again, things can fudge around a little bit, but that's what you'd be looking towards. Make sure you have your eye on that ball sort of thing. Now, something to note about it though. DSCR loans do not have this. They don't give a shit, which is awesome. Again, these guys are fucking awesome, man. You have 15% down payments and shit like that. There's no private mortgage insurance, anything like that. They don't give a shit about this stuff either. That's cool. I love those things.
So I actually had a question on that. Is there, so you said the first step is the 2 FHAs, then to the DSCR. Would you say, is there a reason to not go DSCR first? If maybe, because like my debt to income is shit right now. So like I wouldn't be able to do an FHA, there's no way.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
And even like into the future, I have a lot of student loans, so it might be kind of on the tougher side for me to get an FHA even after I graduate. So like, does it ever make sense to do the DSCR first, get your income going with the rental property, and then do the FHAs after? Oh, you can't even do an FHA after, can you?
Well, you might be able to do, you could do like one. The problem with it though is that if they get the sense like, oh, first of all, and this is why it's kind of bad, is that, oh, hey look, you have a DSCR loan? Because what that's for, right? Property investments, right? Rental properties and shit like that, right? The FHAs don't like it. They don't like it, man. They don't know. You know, they can go this way, but it can't go this way. You know.